Doors here, guys. I just got a little moment here, so this is not going to be a long live stream or anything like that. I got to go to work in a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about upcoming reviews, gear stuff, and just stuff like that, and kind of shoot the shit with you guys. And I don't know, maybe if I'm feeling it, might go on a rant or something. But who knows? And you know, if nobody hardly shows up, then this might get cut a little sooner than later, type of thing. But guys, some stuff that I'm going to be reviewing in the near future. So actually, we'll just kind of start working on some blades here. I got this one here from Primitive Bear Knives. It's the Primal. It is about a 4-inch blade, kind of a modified spear point, AEBL, eighth of an inch thick. Guys, this is an amazing little blade. It's insanely slicey. I really like the aesthetic of Primitive Bear Knives, but this is going to be one that will be coming up in a review sometime in the future. Has Kydex sheath, AP ulti clip that I put on there. Guys, this is honestly my favorite kind of setup for like an EDC loadout. Speaking of Primitive Bear Knives, I've had this one for a little bit now, but I just haven't got to a review on it, and that's the Bush Bear. Guys, the Bush Bear is honestly kind of one of my favorite, just kind of 6 to 7 inch survival knives. I really love the Bush Bear. The aesthetics and ergonomics and everything on it is just really great. 5/32 of that good old AEBL steel. Super eager for that. And guys, actually in the comments below too, what is it, Larkshot Gunner, hey there, thanks for showing up. But if there's something that you guys would like to see review, kind of put that in the comments below too. I've been thinking about trying to grab a couple other blades for testing and review. I may even try to grab a couple like budget blades, because I know a lot of people gets frustrated when I show just a bunch of expensive stuff, which, you know, I get it. Everybody is tight on money these days, myself included. So I get it. But definitely have a couple Primitive Bear Knives in the works. I plan on doing some Essie Part 2 reviews. Guys, I've been a long time Essie fan, and so, you know, I plan on doing the Essie Hungless Part 2. Definitely I'm eager about that. Guys, the Essie Hungless is honestly just a great classic big blade. If you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a big knife and you want just a great big knife that's going to last you a lifetime, the Essie Hungless is probably the way to go. I plan on doing Essie 6 Part 2. Really excited to do that, and I want to do a Essie 3 Part 2. Jacob needs to make something that big. I agree. I don't think he has a heat treat kiln that's big enough yet. I would like to see that in the future. Now, I know something right off the bat a lot of people complains about too, and actually I'll bring this up now. What's up, Missouri Survival? Guys, go check out Missouri Survival if you haven't. The length on the Essie Hungless, I think it's shorter than 22 inches. So, you know, as long as, I think if it has like a 9 to 11 inch blade, I think it'd be really cool for like a big chopper. But yeah, I definitely would be interested in a very good knife company big chopper for sure. But you know, something that I kind of wanted to bring up too is I see this a lot. Is I'll do like a Work Tough Gear video, and people will be like, "Oh, it's a nice knife, but I'd never buy it if it wasn't an American-made knife." And the problem with that is there's a reason you don't see a lot of big American-made knives, especially in a super premium or higher-end steel or like a small maker. And one, it's just a lot of work. But two, because it's a lot of work and it costs a lot of money and everything like that, then a big knife ends up being charged like $500 plus, and that's why Work Tough Gear is actually kind of a nice place, especially with like blades like this ATAL, is just because they have high fit, finish, and quality and stuff, but this fit and finish and quality here in the United States for something this big or bigger is going to end up being, a lot of money. I actually have two very expensive blades, and I don't know why every time I show an expensive blade, people get really triggered. But this is a Huntsman Knife Co. No, it's not directly related to me or anything. It's just his brand name. But this is the Tyrant, a 13-inch blade of CPM 3V. Guys, I'm not going to lie, this is an insanely expensive knife. It's an $850 knife. But that's kind of what I'm getting at. There's a reason why you don't see like super premium, really big knives here being made in the United States, is just because for somebody to even make money on something like this, they'd almost have to charge a lot of money, and then nobody wants to pay that, or they gripe and bitch about it. But guys, this thing, I've already been shopping with it some, and this thing is a monster. I am super excited to get out there more with this one. This one is a demo model that he made in 3V, but his production models are going to be Z or Z Tough. I keep getting those Z Steels all mixed up, but it's Z Tough will be newer ones. I actually got another one from him. This one's not mine. This one's actually just on loan here, but it's the Fell Beast Machete. This one's in Z Tough, and it's a thinner blade. It's right at 1/8 of an inch thick, but this thing is a heavy hitter. But even something like this is still going to be expensive. That's a lot of steel and a lot of machining and everything like that. And I think a lot of people that complains about prices too on things has never actually made anything or worked for a company making things. And so I think that's a big issue there. But here's the thing, you don't have to spend a lot of money on a great knife too. I always tell people a good old $200 SE Hungless is gonna serve you a lifetime. So but when you use a lot of knives and stuff like I do, then it's kind of nice to try some new stuff. Guys, I actually do got, speaking of SE, I actually do have a few new SEs from the Knife Connection. They sent me a JG5, which this would actually be kind of a part 2 for me, because I tested a JG5 a long time ago. But this one's rocking out some Knife Connection scales on there and a sheath. Really awesome. I got a Ashley game knife and a JG3 to try out as well. And my twin brother is kind of holding on to those. I told him he can keep them if he helps me with a review and stuff. Guys, Kenny gets a lot of blades too. One I'd like to kind of throw onto the channel as well. This was a Christmas present from my wife. It'd be my first sword review, which if you guys ever watched some of my live streams and stuff, I've kind of told you guys my background actually originally came from like swords and stuff. I kind of got into the blade world with swords. Swords is kind of my passion, and then I got into like knives and stuff just because, quite frankly, they're a lot more functional. But this is the Zombie Tools Legionnaire. It's kind of a Gladius kind of style blade. Really enjoy this thing. This thing is just super nice. And honestly, as far as swords go these days, I just want something that is practical and tactical, and just I could beat the shit out of it. And I've always seen great things out of Zombie Tools. Are they historically accurate? Absolutely not. Do they just look absolutely badass? This one's what is it, 5160 spring steel, if I recall right. But check that out. I did just a little bit of milk jug test with it, and it of course just glides right through it. But plan on trying to do some more reviews on swords and stuff, but it's kind of hard for me to think of like how to do a review. Obviously, I do plan on doing a lot more gun testing this year. I got my first suppressor, been putting that to some use. It's awesome on the bolt action Ruger American Gen 2, but guys, I can't show a lot of guns on a live stream because you'll have people just automatically flagging it, and then it gets taken down, and then my channel gets taken down, and I've had to deal with that before, and it's stupid and gay. But there's just a handful of blades that I'll be kind of working on in upcoming reviews and stuff. I do have some more gun reviews coming. We're going to be doing a couple AR9s. One will be a PSA AR9, and one will be a CMMG AR9. We'll be kind of testing both of those out and maybe even comparing and contrasting. So kind of a more budget versus more premium AR9. We're going to be doing some suppressor work, so we should have a few suppressors in the near future and stuff. So definitely excited to do that kind of stuff. And like I said, guys, if there's anything you want to see on the channel, hit me up in the comments here, or always email me or something like that too. I'd like to try to get some more overnighters, but anybody that probably can relate, working a full-time job and doing the farm and wife and kids and everything like that, it just gets hard for me to do an overnighter. When I was a single man, it was a lot easier to do, but life kind of hits you. So I would like to do some more overnighters and or work on the bushcraft shelter and rebuild it and stuff. And there might even be a possibility of me bringing in some, like my wife and kids with me. I just don't know if I want them on YouTube and stuff. Just a lot of weird, creepy people. And guys, when you have a channel, you start to see it too. Like, especially if you put your email out there for public, you just start getting a lot of weird people emailing you, or people making threats and all kinds of stupid crap. Especially if you question their like steel man god, and then you get a bunch of communist Antifa wannabe types that worships a guy that makes steel, for God's sakes, and they'll start making threats and stuff. It's just crazy and stupid, quite frankly. But yeah. So guys, like I said, I'm not going to keep this live stream going too long. I just figured it'd be quicker to kind of throw you guys a channel update and oh, actually, one other thing I'd like to try to get a review out on too, that's coming in the near future, would be pocket knife. I don't do a lot of pocket knives, but guys, I've been very impressed with this Vosteed raccoon. Honestly, I've had more premium pocket knives, and honestly, I like this one better than even most of them. So there's that. Well, do you guys want me to go on a rant a little bit? Like, because I was kind of thinking about it. I kind of pointed out on a short that all this like Epstein stuff is not really anything new, and it's because they've been doing it for thousands of years, because quite frankly, the power elite can trace their bloodlines to Nephilim, and the child sacrifice is basically their currency. They print money out of nothing, so they don't really care about any of that. So yeah, that's why you're not really going to see much come out of this whole like Epstein stuff, in my opinion. Like, could they potentially throw somebody under the bus? Maybe, but I don't think you're going to see much going on with it, just because I think they're all involved, so they'd have to arrest themselves, and two, it's part of their religion. It's their I mean, if you just study the Talmud and a lot of the occult ideology and stuff, they believe that not only are they Nephilim descendants, but they need to make sacrifice and all that good crazy crap. And so they're not ever going to put a stop to it because it's been something that they've been doing for thousands of years. And sadly, what I'm seeing now is a lot of the left and right all smacking it back at each other. And it's like, well, my blue flavor of baby boomer billionaire pedophile is better than your red flavor of baby boomer billionaire pedophile. When they can't comprehend that they're both baby boomer billionaire pedophiles. You know, they print money out of nothing. Money is for, us common folk and stuff. They don't really care about money. They care about the sacrifice, essentially. So there's that. Uh, so I don't expect that. And people's already getting sidetracked with the Super Bowl and stuff, which I know a lot of people's been pointing out a lot of stuff with the halftime game. Guys, I don't watch football. I don't watch sports ball at all. I think sports is really stupid and gay, kind of like space and NASA and the rest of it. It's all fake and gay. Uh, so there's that. I kind of focus more on like homesteading stuff and doing real life things and not knowing the size and color of every quarterback's jock strap. A lot of people, it's kind of, I always find distraction, divisions. It is all distractions and divisions. Yeah, it's all distractions, it's all divisions. Um, and kind of speaking of division, I know a lot of people's always like, oh, we can't get divided and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of got a different perspective on that a little bit. Me personally, seeing what half the country essentially wants, and let me kind of throw this out there real quick. I think here in the United States, what we are essentially anymore is we're two different groups of people and two different nations, bare minimum. It might even be more than that. That's kind of forced together. And you have some people that are full blown down the communist rabbit hole and they want, old wrinkly baby boomers to just, tell them how to wipe their own ass. They don't care if it's a baby boomer. If it's a brown person of some kind, they'll be perfectly happy with that too. And then you got the other part of the country that wants to at least put the persona of like, hey, rights, liberty, America, apple pie. A lot of that's fake. I mean, we're seeing more and more Republicans coming out against gun rights and pushing for gun control and stuff, which they almost always do. But me personally, I think the United States needs to kind of go its own separate ways. And I know some people won't like the sound of that, but if, in my opinion, if we don't, we're going to completely collapse as a country one way or the other, anyways. I actually think the country would probably do better off going its own separate ways. And I don't even think it should be by state. You look at a lot of states, like California is a perfect example. California has always thought of this like liberal bastion and blah, blah, blah. But when you look at a voting map, it's about 90% red with three big blue dots. And quite frankly, you go through any state and that's about how it is. And so, me personally, I think for the most part, I think we should just go our own separate ways and just be like, hey, you know what? You have your city state. Screw you guys. And by the way, you guys love sanctions so much. Let's just practice some sanctions. You don't really like that electricity that comes from a conservative leaning county, or you don't like that water that comes from a conservative leaning county. Let's just practice some sanctions while we're at it, and you could have your big cities. I don't know, kind of my wild thoughts on it. But yeah, I think, quite frankly, we kind of almost need to have a divide in the country. And, I kind of mention this to a lot of Christians is, do you think that God would bless us as a country if we have half the people that are vehemently for sacrificing their own babies. You know, do you think that God will bless a country that allows GBTLQPRS? Do you think that God will bless a country that allows a lot of the degeneracy? You know, and the answer to that is quite frankly no, not in even the slightest extent. And or would God bless a country that quote blesses shit stain over in the Middle East with a Star of Remphan as their flag? And the answer to that is no. God wouldn't bless that kind of country. As a matter of fact, if we kind of look at what's going on with the United States these days, it's kind of almost as if we're being cursed. It's almost as if the opposite. And it's true just because we're following in the spirit of Babylon and not really in a Christian based spirit. And so when I say like, hey, I kind of almost think we do need to divide, there's kind of a reason for that is just because you cannot have a successful and functional country and you cannot receive God's blessing if you're working alongside barbarians and degenerates, you know? And so just something to kind of think about, like, you know, we're not meant to just try to fix everybody and everything. Some people are unfixable. And you know, and I hate to be that, I'm not even judging, I guess. They have to decide that they want to be fixed themselves, but they have to make that decision. You can't do it for them. And so, you know, at a certain point though, if they're getting to the point to where they're okay with sacrificing babies and pushing GBTLQPRS on children, then it's pretty obvious that they kind of got whatever was coming to them. And, you know, that's just how things are sometimes. So, guys, there's my little rant. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And, guys, as always, be prepared both physically and spiritually. Jesus Christ be praised, and God bless, and carry on.